Hi, Mr. Agha. Thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you. Thank you for coming.
I have a few questions I would like to ask you on the upcoming elections.
Sure, please.
Okay, we thought from your last interview, um, your thoughts might have changed. Have they?
Well, my last interview and thoughts, which you recorded about, if I'm not mistaken, in 2009 early, they were never broadcasted, so my thoughts still remain the same,
Still remain the same.
actually
And
stronger.
can you clarify on those thoughts?
Well, uh, the thoughts are ANC has given, ANC has given basically awareness, fought for this country, and gave freedom to this country and its people, and it deserves still a big voting applaud.
Okay, and what do you think about the ANC and the DA and all these other groups that are trying to go up for elections? What do you think of them only coming into the picture when it's time for elections?
Well, look, there are many parties of them which are some are very legitimate, like DA is a very legitimate party
Yeah.
from the very beginning, IFP, and similarly many other, but uh, Minority Front of Mr. Rajbansi at one, mostly it was for Indians.
Yeah.
Very legitimate parties, and I would like to see a strong opposition. I would like to see a strong turnover for them. But as I said earlier, who fought for the freedom of this country and today where we are standing is ANC. The only thing which I do not admire about certain parties is uh, getting personal.
Okay.
If you remember, our in our area, all over the country, don't vote Zuma, vote DA. That is very personal and very shallow, if I should say. Uh,
It should be don't vote ANC, not
yes, it
Zuma.
should be don't vote ANC, vote D. That's a common political slogan. This is our agenda. This is ANC's agenda. Do not vote ANC, vote for. But getting do not vote Zuma. This is getting very personal, and that does not suit any mature political party.
Okay.
Don't vote Zuma. Why getting so personal? Why people are so much afraid of Zuma? What did Zuma do? If anything, all his life he stayed in exile, fought for the freedom of his people who were enslaved for hundreds and hundreds of years. After all these years of enslavement, when as I was saying, Mr. Zuma, as I should refer him as Mr. President of our country currently, all his life he's been in exile, fighting for the freedom of his people, for ANC. Today, with the help of all others, including a major contribution from Mr. Zuma, the country has been freed, which was a 20th freedom celebration were done just a few days back. Having said that, today suddenly Mr. Zuma has become a bad person. Why? Let me ask you a question. If he was such a bad person, why in his every election campaign you will find Madiba sitting next to him holding his hand? So either people are losing their memory, or if they do remember the legacy of Madiba,
Yeah.
they know Madiba would never stand for something which is wrong. And he always stood by Mr. Zuma. And Mr. Zuma always stood by ANC, and ANC still standing by Mr. Zuma.
Yes.
Having said that, why should anybody, an African, not vote for ANC and Mr. Zuma? And it would be very wrong for anybody to say, don't vote for Zuma, vote for DA.
But it always comes down to the point where it's DA and ANC that always end up head to head when it's election time.
Uh, I would, with million apologies, I do not agree to that statement.
Okay.
ANC has never come head to head with DA. Show me one poster of ANC, show me one advert of ANC, show me one statement of ANC which says don't vote DA.
Okay, no, I agree with that, but
Yes,
I'm saying when it comes to the polls and voting, when they count the votes, the
yes,
actual votes,
yeah.
it's always a very close run between ANC and
There's never
DA.
a close run. There's never a close run. That's why DA has changed its tactics this time, involving more and more black people
Yeah.
throwing blue t-shirts and blue berets to say, and throwing parties to come and join. But if an ANC person throws a party by the pool, that becomes a problem. Recently, if you read the newspapers, there was a
Yes.
pool party for the students done by a famous businessman in KwaZulu Natal, and that became a problem. But when DA throws parties to attract black people, not to gain the vote, DA knows they can never outwit ANC in terms of votes. Never. I mean, maybe after 50 years, possibly. Not in next near future. They cannot. People just receive their freedom. They are not going to bow to anybody else. ANC is never a close call with DA in voting. It's a big polar part difference. That is why suddenly EFF comes into being. Many of these small unknown parties, COPE and all, they come into being. And who are those? Those are all ex-ANC. Those people who are expelled from ANC, who left ANC on their own agendas and started political parties. My question is, who's funding them?
True.
Recently, Mr. Malema, he gave a big statement when there was a fee to be submitted. He came last moment with the bags of money saying in the boxes, we don't have money. So where did that money come from? Where all his campaign is running from? It's not to support Mr. Malema. The people of South Africa must understand and learn this thing. Be it EFF, be it COPE, be it anybody else, are not going to run the country. It's to break your vote for ANC, because if ANC takes a majority, extra majority lead, they might ending up changing the constitution, which was made mostly by the previous regimes, apartheid regime. Based on that, freedom was signed. So they might change it, and that's what they're afraid of. That's why they want to break the ANC power, so they do not get. They know it. They can't beat ANC.